Video game music. Video game music is an important staple in games as a whole. It gives the game the right feel and adds to its character. Having unremarkable game music is like having a car with no tires. What are you trying to do here? If the game developers are creative enough, they might even put in leitmotifs to tie tracks together and give the game its own theme and relate scenarios together. Maybe you also extremely divert from the game's usual theme to put in a little surprise music change. Or one of my personal favorites. Put in vocals with sick-ass lyrics and usual non-verbal track environment. Whatever way game directors choose, they all have their own way of gluing their game to the music. But undoubtedly, the game genre that takes full advantage of music is rhythm games. These are all about timing button presses to beats in a song and are all about teaching you about reaction time and beat or scolding you for sucking at it. The usual popular ones are Dance Dance Revolution, Rhythm Heaven, Osu, Friday Night Allegations, and many more. From time to time, many devs start thinking and dare to ask, what if I start mixing it with other genres? For example, what if rhythm game but it's a top-down roguelike? And then they made Crypt of Necrodancer. What if rhythm game but it's an endless runner? And then they made the Bit Trip Runner series. And then they asked, what if rhythm game but it's a 3D beat 'em up? And then they made No Straight Roads. Wait, wrong one. Then they asked, what if rhythm game but it's a 3D cel-shaded action hack and slash that sings everything to the beat? And then they made Hi-Fi Rush is a sick-ass game that came out in 2023, a day after Forspoken. I'm not kidding, and I don't think I need 3 manga comment comparison videos telling me about the gigantic ratio. It was also made by Tango Gameworks, who worked on Evil Within and Ghostwire. What happened there? And I'm just jumping straight to the point. This is a review, but more like a mentally ill autistic guy really wants to talk about his current favorite game and call it a review. I need to get this game out of my head or this tubular tumor is gonna eat up my brain matter and I will die. Disclaimer, this giddy review will include major spoilers, so if you don't want to get spoiled and play the game, I recommend not watching this video. However, because I'm such a cool guy, I made a spoiler-free section for all of you to enjoy.
Man up for a minute.
Oh man, I found a candy bar! Whoop.
The way I got to know about this game in the first place is seeing a few posts about it on Twitter, and then seeing an upload from Scott Falco. Usually his Side of Salt series highlights a lot of critical points or issues he had with games, but color me surprised, he had almost no issues or qualms with it. So when I saw this game being free on the Game Pass, I said to myself, yeah, let's give it a shot, can't be that good. But let's start from the beginning. This game is about an overly joyous guy named Chai that really wants to be a rock star, but instead of getting depressed trying to get recognized, he beats up security robots built by Vandelay Industries, aka Amazon, but instead of Emperor Bezos, it's handsome Jack.
I will pay you to kill yourself.
The game's entire selling point is the quirky art style of the mid-2000s games like Jet Set Radio and etc. But also that every minute detail is synced up to the beat, and oh, they like to show what they do. The game was shadow dropped by Bethesda and sadly slowly faded out of popularity, but that won't stop me from making a review on it, so let's just get in, shall we? Alright, before I talk about the gameplay, I just want to swiftly cover the plot of this game, so here it is. In this game you play as a musical washed 25-year-old Chai after a botched surgery for his new robotic arm gives him musical robot powers through sick beats and riffs. After meeting with the robot Kitty 808 and her creator Peppermint, they seek to find out the truth about Vandelay's secret mind control project Spectra. On their way they meet more friends, including the friendly yet terribly honest Cinnamon and his builder Macaron, together with Corsica. They will do anything to stop Kale and his corporal underlings. Now, before I go on talk about the gameplay, I just want to put in a little section for the characters called Trivia Time, in which I will name some trivia facts I found interesting while looking at the official wiki page and some other places too. So let's get the main gang out of the way. His name means tea in a lot of languages. By the way, every character is named after food in this game, except for 808, which is a synthesizer. Unless you eat those, I wouldn't recommend it. His greatest weakness is common sense. Not my words, directors. In the beginning he wears a sling with his broken arm inside, and after he gets his robot arm, it turns into a scarf. He has the same voice actor as Akechi in Persona 5. And I also found this comment on the fandom page. 808 is based off the Roland TR-808 drum machine, as said before. The kanji on her collar stands for hibiki, which means stuff like sound or echo in Japanese. It was also the working title for the game and can still be found in a lot of places in-game. 808 is also inspired by the game director's cat, who has a habit of jumping onto his shoulder like 808 does in the game. Peppermint's voice actor is also the same as Futaba from Persona 5 and Luna from Helluva Boss. I mean, kinda suits.
Hi, it's so wonderful to meet you all.
She's also lesbian. Macaron is named after the French desert macaron, Sir Macaron. And here's the thing that isn't stated on the wiki, but it's just a personal thing I noticed. If I had €1 for every time there was a big black side character with huge hands and a soft but protected personality, I'd have 2 or maybe more. I don't know, really want to show Beeps from Monkey Wrench.
I've been dancing in my room.
Can I just say I absolutely love the trope of giving expressions to robots by literally drawing them onto them with markers and pens? It's amazing. Cinnamon states as its name abbreviates to Consciousness Review Allocation Personnel, which actually stands for crap. I love this game. Anyways, gameplay time. This game is centered around being a hack and slash, beat 'em up, punch them up, grind them up, turn them into a soup. The levels are mostly platforming sections with rhythm puzzles in between, and throughout them you get sent into fight sequences against waves of enemies. And these are the main combat sections. You got your basic light and heavy attacks and the air or ground combos with them, but you can also make combos with your dash and your partner, so you can normally send in to either break shields or extinguish fires. You can unlock a lot of the attacks with the gears you collect from the levels and battles you fight. And in case you buy something at first but don't have enough for something you really wanna get, you can sell combos that you don't want. It's kinda cool, but I never really used that. These will rack up your skill rank and are mostly just a way to brag about your constant acid ace. During these fights you can use a reverb gauge to unleash strong special moves, which usually include quicktime events to make them stronger. They have their own special cutscenes that are vital for these fights, which also houses one of the special attacks, Rip and Tear, which is a bit mediocre, but the description makes a joke about Chai's Evil Within. It's of course a reference to the fact that Tango made the Evil Within series, but if we read this literally, I disagree. Look at him. You think there's evil inside? I don't think so. As previously mentioned, everything in the game is synced to the music, and so are the attacks, and the enemies, and the UI, and the enemies, and the background elements, and you get the point. Now during the fights you don't have to time the button press to the music as well, if you don't want to get batteries for your reverb gauge or a good score to brag with. Much later you get the parry as well, and my god, if you don't know how to basically parry tight timings or play Friday Night Cancellation for at least 2 seconds, you will struggle. But that's what the game is here for. Not rather for you to suffer, but to learn that beat, to feel that tap within your foot or the beat, or nod your head to it. Anyway, to learn to beat up these scoots with style. Looking at these enemies for a second, they have a big variety of normal robots that either slash or shoot or smash or make you file lawsuits for likely lethal injuries. Some of them have either normal barrier, Z shielding, or engulfed in fire, for which you have to use your partner attacks. But the real deal are the special enemies. These stand out of the crowd from the normal enemies, not just in design, but also because of these. Before they die, they force you into a mini timing sequence with your parry, and when you do it successfully, you can take them out instantly. These never get old, and all of them have their own personality and style to them. My favorite one must be their Way-S robots. They're basically just samurai robots. Their parry attack, Poetic Blade, is especially interesting because they spout a Japanese haiku before they start attacking. Now there's 6 haikus that can appear, most of them translate into some tough guy speech, but there's one that I really like out of all of them, and I think it's best if I read the translation of it. Ah, depressing. Tomorrow's Monday. Don't wanna go. There's also one that just has la 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 all over it, but I really like the Garfield-ass quote. All in all, the battle arenas are maybe the best part of the gameplay, but before I go over to the music, I want to put some light to the levels. They are lovingly crafted. They are filled to the brim with stuff to do, stuff to look at. Their aesthetics are just straight eye candy. They take a decent amount of time to get through, as most of the tracks range from 30 to 40 minutes in length. The cutscenes and dialogue during this is impressive and just genuinely great. You have a lot of moments where the cutscenes will jump from 3D animation into a 2D animation and back. Dialogue with a sense of humor that is written in a way that doesn't make it too obnoxious or cringe, and it's just simple enough to be funny. For example, in track, after Peppermint and Chai meet Macaron and Cinnamon, you have a part where Peppermint tells Chai to stand by as Cinnamon gives her personality test.
Pull a Chai, find another way in. I'll be right back. Cinnamon is trying to give me a personality test.
Honestly, given the voice actor's track record, it proves it even more. Or in the level at the beginning where it starts a previously on Hi-Fi Rush joke. between track 3 and 4. This never happens again, it's just that one bit. I could name more, but I honestly just wanted to cover some personal favorites. Now I originally wanted to dedicate this section to the music alone, but I felt like it needed to put more love into the art of the game as well, so I'm gonna tag it on too. Of course, as I said before, the game is reminiscent of the 2000s styled games, but there's more than just that. Do you know what an onomatopoeia is? No, it's not an ear infection, you idiot. It's a word that reads off like a sound. Stuff like boom, zoom, crash, meow. And this game is filled to the brim with them, accompanying attacks, explosions, splash screens, and a lot of actions. And in case you've heard of visualizers, aka the bars that move funny when the music go wee, they are everywhere. Again, just putting more soul into the everything moves to the beat theme. Adding on to that, the game likes to put in some comic book-esque animations too. Shading sometimes have transparent lines or little hole textures anywhere, and quick movements from objects or characters are accompanied by speed lines. There's also a lot of stuff too, but I want to move on to the music now. Come on, what did you expect me to say? Music good? No. It's awesome. Okay, no, I shouldn't be allowed to judge music because I have like the worst taste ever. My favorite artist is Will Wood.
That's broken.
Moving on! The entire OST is of course rock music, but some tracks diverge from that. Other tracks are segmented into level music and enemy arena sections. But then the level music is also sectioned to have music change in some later areas, which is wonderful. And the boss phases are segmented into choruses and bridges, just like real songs. Now you could say, but Crichton, would you say that the boss tracks are better than the levels? And I would reply no. There's quite a lot of tracks that I really like. Like damn, I paused my this'll be rough to be here. An interesting thing about the boss tracks is that most of them have licensed tracks playing while you fight if you have streamer mode on. Here's the part though, this game's usage of licensed tracks is smart. They have the reason to be in this. They're not like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet when you're in the middle of recovering from the craziest ending to a Pokemon game. They're not jump scared by Ed Sheeran. No, these tracks are in theme and in character for the bosses you fight. And I love that. Also, I just lied. There are some sections in the game outside the bosses that have licensed tracks, like the escape sequence in track 5 and the cafeteria fight in track 10. All of them have streamer-friendly stand-ins, and I would say that a lot of them fit very well as fill-in tracks, except Intruder from the cafeteria fight because the riffs sound like a grass trimmer's malfunctioning. Returning to the music and other levels, I want to name some really cool ones I like Heatwave from the Magma area. I don't know if it was Mario or someone before, but whoever came up with the idea to give lava levels metal or heavy metal music should be given a big kiss. Another track that I really like is A History Lesson. Here the music makes a turn to be a full orchestra instead of just rock, and oh my fucking god, I start turning into goo whenever I hear Through the Halls of History. And then you're like, wow, the music is so cool, it sounds like crime jazz. And then the game is like, yeah, but what if it's better? I want to hold off with the boss tracks because I want to talk about each of the bosses because personally, I think they're the best part of the levels, mostly due to their sheer energy and personality. Oh yeah, bosses, let's talk about them. God, I love all of them. I could do a lot of window dressing for them, but honestly I think it's best if I just jump straight in. This is the first boss you get to fight, and he's right in the first track. I really like it, even if it's a head-and-hands boss, just like Mega Satan, Wham Bam, Tiki Kong, I Rock, Boulder Guys, Knock. Aside that, the boss looks really cool to fight and is fun to fight against as well. Mid through the fight you get opportunities to counter with a QTE, and it transitions so nicely back into the game after they're done, and I just find them so cool. The track playing this fight is called 1 Million by 9 Inch Nails, with the replacement track being Too Big to Fail. I like how the replacement tracks are close enough to resemble the licensed music, but still differs enough to stand in their own way. I couldn't really find any interesting facts about him, but I do like the splash images during the fight. I'll give it a ball crush out of 10. Speaking of ball crushing, Leprechaun!
Leprechaun!
Here's Rekka. She's the head of quality assurance at a bombshell as well. Can I just say I love her appearance? In a sea of normal buff women, Vivzy pop designs and Twitter sonas, I just want to see more women built like this. She's built like a freight train, and she probably lifts them in her free time. Coming to her boss fight, which is awesome. The licensed track for this one is Free Radicals by Flaming Lips, with the streamer mode being captive normals. Everything in that boss fight, including the theme and her appearance, is styled around wrestling. She even has her own announcer called Hype Man. I want one too. I think I prefer the licensed track in this one too, but what I love more about this is an attack and electrified phase, where she causes the entire ground to be electrocuted, and it does this sound cue. I love it. Overall, this fight is really cool, but don't get caught by this attack because it does this. Yeah, I don't think insurance covers this one. Oh, and before I forget, here's the trivia sections. Her grab attack might be a reference to Potemkin's Heavenly Buster. If that's true, that's awesome. I love Guilty Gear, except playing it because I'm ass. Her name origin is a bit obscure, but it could be a type of ramen called Rekka Ramen. Also, side thing, I feel like she and Tyreen would get along really well. 2 mentions of Monkey Wrench, please check it out. Here's my selling point. Scratch.
Oh! Goody! We're just at your 7 o'clock high. Amigo! What? Amigo that, pendejo!
Overall, I love it. Hype man out of 10.
You're pushing your luck, pal.
I gave up, so here's the entire fight.
This is all because of you!
Honestly, he's just really funny to me because he's on so many all bosses videos on YouTube, but he isn't really a boss. His health bar is basically a budget and you challenge him to drain it as much as possible. This section is also where the parry gets introduced, and I really like parries. You won't. Anyways, here's the trivia. The cutscenes in Hi-Fi are all skippable, even though, why would you do that? Except all cutscenes involving Zanzo, because according to the game director, he's supposed to be annoying. I love this game. In case you have no eyes, Zanzo's entire personality is a reference to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, with movements, the menacing kanji, the torture dance, and the iconic Jotaro finger point gesture. I'll give him a Muda Muda Meet a Woman out of 10. What can I say? I drew porn of her, so I would like her. Her boss fight is also unique because instead of fighting her until she blows up, you have to parry all of her attacks. So it's less of a fight and more of a negotiation. Here's a warning though, if you have played this game and had problems with the parry mechanic, good fucking luck. This is the V2 of Hi-Fi Rush, aka your skill check. If you haven't learned how to fully get used to the parry, you will now be forced to. One of my mutuals, GamesLeak on Twitter, played through this game and let me tell you, he was ass. I made this image, he is shamed. Aside that, the fight is cool, the music is fine, I love the dialogue that happens.
What are you doing this for? Kale? What does it matter? He doesn't care about you. Otherwise, he wouldn't have kept you in the dark. You don't know that. I know you're not like the others, Corsica. You can feel something's wrong.
Chai, you are surprisingly convincing.
De-escalating. I think we may have a chance.
Or are you just too oblivious to figure that out?
Oh, come on!
That's it. Now I'm mad.
The banter between those two is just entertaining. The catching QTE that has no impact whether you fail or not is great and has no licensed alternative in this case. Oh, and also visual comedy with the cutscene after it rocks too. Here's trivia time! The catching QTE was supposed to be more impactful and should prepare the player for it earlier, but the dev decided that it would be really funny if it catches you off guard, so they chose that instead. When you inspect your computers with the free camera tool, you can see that she has several catches saved next to work folders and has 2 articles open called Top 5 Ways to Make Your Boss Happy and How to Brew Your Own Coffee. And to add something not said on the wiki but I just find it funny, you're supposed to keep her alive because she doesn't have a passkey like the other bosses, instead just memorizes the password. And at the end of the game, when you put in all the passwords, her password is just password. It's awesome. Now before I move on to the next boss, I want to quickly mention a cutscene at the end of a history lesson. Peppermint reveals that Kale is her brother and talks about how he ruined his mother's company reputation and starts becoming emotional about it. And for no reason. Either there is none or the plot calls for it. But Chai steps from a complete moron looking for brain cells with a flashy metal detector to absolutely understanding Peppermint's issues and giving a surprisingly effective pep talk.
Who cares? Did you think we wouldn't talk to you anymore? We got this far because of you. We're all here because of you.
Yeah, but
And I'm here fighting because of what you found and what you're trying to stop.
Not to mention, Mr. Chai is the one in the most danger.
Well, yeah, there's that, but that's like secondary or something.
Your brother doesn't define who you are.
And this doesn't change anything.
really?
It only gives us a stronger reason to fight. As friends.
We all needed Chai in our life, let's be honest. Who's the next boss? Oh yeah, this boss fucking slaps. The intro, the design, the stage, the music. Oh my god, the music. They know that if you have a game with musical elements and one of the bosses doing a live musical performance that you have to go all out. Oh my god, they do. The rhythmic attack involving beams, music notes and lasers. Mimosa flapping her wings to the music and just everything fits so well. By the way, can I just say mech wings are fucking awesome. Murder drones might be a mess, but I dig mech wings so much, so I'm not mad. Getting back to our fight, all of the phases are a blast. The bridge on the fight is a rhythm mini game, and it's arguably the best part of the track too. Also, you can really decide on which soundtrack is better, because the My Heart and Feels No Pain has a male and female boss, and it fits because, you know, Chai and Mimosa both fight. But Fast As You Can is more jazzier and only has the female voice of Fiona Apple, which could fit into the ego of Mimosa herself. I think both are really good in their own way, but I like the ending jingle of the licensed ones a bit more. Now this is only my second favorite boss due to one thing. I can't reach that bitch! She's mostly fighting in the air. When you stun her, you have a small window to deal damage before her shield regenerates, and the voice lights from your pals telling you that her shield's at full power. Yes, I know, Peppermint, I can use my retinas. I would like to deal some damage to her if she wasn't so damn slippery.
Shopping on Amazon and I found the world's slipperiest mimosa, and apparently I can wash.
Honestly, aside that I love fighting her nonetheless. And to the trivia we go! Her Japanese voice actor voices Aino from GG. Wow, there's a lot of Guilty Gear in this video. The fighting stage references older rhythm games like Parappa the Rapper. Her name being a reference to an alcoholic beverage that is served to businesses in first classes really suits her character. So yeah, this boss is a high society baby sacrifice out of 10. Now who do we have now? Oh. It's him. So I want to let you know the whole introduction to this next scuba we are gonna look at properly. So it's track 10, a master plan. You get shot out of a cannon because Chai really wanted to. Into probably the best section, the cafeteria fight that plays Invaders Must Die if you're cool, but Intruder if you're kind of alright. Which also has one special version of the Way As enemies that only shows up here, has a splash screen that is literally cooking. You get to the atrium, which looks awesome and get tossed around everywhere, while Rockford, a character we barely got to see until the start of this mission, tries everything to stop us. After proceeding to destroy the giant Kale statue and getting to his office, he gives you a phone call warning you not to come in. Corsica even says,
I dunno, Chai. Roquefort had a bad rep around the office. Something about a wolf in sheep's clothes.
I mean, makes sense, but look at this guy. I can kill him by coughing on him. So coming in, he's more bark. I bet he's more bark than bite. Could never be such a challenge.
Confidence now, kid.
Corsica? That wolf thing?
Was not an expression!
You wanna get that tail? You gotta get through me.
Can't even say anything, this is fucking cool. Can you tell this is my favorite guy out of all of them? Even his wolf transformation is to the beat. Show me the head part again. Everything around him is awesome, the design being 6 times larger than him. How does this fit into him? You know what, this is my video, fuck you. We are pulling the trivia time now. The licensed track is the remix of Wolfgang's 5th Symphony because Wolfgang. It also lacks any rock music to show his sheer advantage that Chai has nothing to do with him. His name is after sheep milk cheek. What? His name is named after sheep milk cheese. You get it! His Japanese voice actor voices intimidating anti-heroes or villains. His boss fight doesn't have sections like every other one, even the final boss, and it shows the invincibility of his character. I even asked the game director and he confirmed it. Chai is too afraid to talk shit at all, even at the end he's panting. And let's be honest, he's a gilf. God, I love finances. I asked my certified gilf expert friend. She said no, but who? I don't know, she could be wrong. And the best thing is, you don't even get to kill him. A pipe filled with gold bars and money does it. Fate itself noticed and said, oh yeah, and you're not gonna be able to kill this beast, but we kind of had to progress to the story, so... Pew! This fight is awesome too. Visif is good, whatever that word means, but my fucking god, the Wolfgang's 5th Symphony kills the competition. I'm just in awe about how chatful this guy is. He likely even tried to kill you not because of the danger of others or the company, but because of the costs. Everything to the minute detail about him is perfect. I'll give him a please kill me daddy out of 10.
Try this out! Don't get off!
Oh yeah, Kayla, I forgot. Wow, that's mid. After all these 2 bombshells, the final boss just kind of meh. Even the rushing to the finish section before his fight was cooler than the fight. However, I will give him this. He disables Chai's AirPod Shuffle Heart and you get an 808 gameplay section. Take that, Baldur's Gate 3. Game of the Year who? And I do like how his boss track, The Perfect Drug, is made by 9 Inch Nails. We started with Nin and ended with Nin. How poetic. His fight is alright, it's cool, but nothing that really stands out. I'm not saying it's bad or anything, it's really hype. But you had Mimosa and Rockford. May I repeat, Rockford. And then there's just Kale. It's like you're a kid at a science fair and you prepared a really cool project, but the kid that you're presenting after it has a fusion reactor, and all you have is a papier-mâché volcano. Whatever, let's just jump straight to trivia, we're almost done. His English voice actor is Roger Craig. Wait a minute, is this Sonic guy? And the Japanese voice actor also voices Dio Brando. What a difference. Dude thinks he's part of the team. His entire body is mechanical, except his head, which would have been funnier to just unscrew his head and we were done, but it was cool too. Spectra's secret purpose, next to mind controlling consumers to buy shit, is to make a whole replica of himself. As shown in the secret cutscene. His logs in his secret Spectra lab mention a lot of scrap projects that reference Bethesda games. And here's one more thing about him. I find it funny how he's supposed to be the big villain, but all he is a loudmouth prick that uses playground insults to intimidate people. Even Chai was smarter than him. That is quite sad. Be better. And that's all the bosses. So here we are. After the main story, there's some extra modes like a photo mode, a rhythm tower, BPM rush, which lets the music accelerate quickly to 200 beats per minute, and I personally love it. Then there's tower up, power up, which is kind of a roguelite where you get up to floors while taking random upgrades on the way. I like them, but even for me it gets difficult after a while. Let's be honest, I was here for the main story. Speaking of it, you can get the secret cutscene by completing Spectra doors, which are hidden in some levels, but honestly, unless you really want to go 100% the game, I don't recommend getting them, because if you complete all of them, you unlock the Spectra lab, which has all of them, but harder. After this cutscene showing that Kale has his AI copy, many people speculated that this game might have some sequel potential. I would be excited if it did, but I would absolutely be fine with it being a closed book like the developers stated it would be. So yeah, that was my review of Hi-Fi Rush. And even if I explain everything to you, I would still urge you to try it off yourself. It's not the perfect best game ever, but it succeeds being itself. I'm proud that it at least won the Best Audio Design of the Game Awards in 2023, but there's one problem I have. Who cares? Who gives a shit even? Because it lacked the advertisement, kind of just fizzled slowly out of the public's eye. I'm not saying no big names played it, but I think you should have deserved a little more attention, and it's a shame, really. This game seemed to have the passion project by the people at Tango Gameworks. According to them, it seemed to have been a dream game for them long ago, and finally got around to make an actual game out of it. It has a lot to reference to not just popular media, but to some niche media as well. It's not made by people catering to people knowing about the popular stuff. It's made by them, and seeing it just not be talked about it that much is a shame. Now before I close off, I want to name a comparison to this case, and it's a French animated movie I watched long ago called Tofu. I saw a clip of this movie on Twitter and researched for a way to watch it. I did eventually get to watch it on the Internet Archives, and I absolutely adored it. The action was amazing, the style and environments were beautiful, and even if the world was a little hard to understand due to the movie being in the Wakfu universe, which was made by the same studio, I loved it. It's not perfect by any means. I hope Khan gets an autoimmune disease and dies without his family at his deathbed, but I think you should still give it a try. Why I'm naming it here is that the studio in Kama is, from what MC told me, very bad at advertisement and barely does so outside of France. Now it still got good ratings, so surely a lot of people watched it, but never got enough attention or money back to warrant another movie. From the subtitle being Book 1, there could have been a chance for another movie, but it didn't. So how do we leave on this note? I think this game should be worth your time in autistic hyperfixation, so go check it out on PlayStation, Steam and Xbox, you won't regret it. But also it should be important to know how to and where to spread a piece of art you made, because it would be worth a lot to a large amount of people. So let's give games like these a chance before all of... Wait, what's this? They hit the second studio shutdown! So this happened after my initial script was finished, and I still can't get over it. Recently the gaming scene has just been kind of a mess, especially with the Helldivers drama, that we luckily bullied Sony into changing the stupid corporate decision. But with this one, I don't even think we can do anything. For all the studios that got shut down, 2 of them have made Mighty, Doom and Redfall. So like I wouldn't be against that, but hearing that about my Tango Gameworks was my personal 9/11. Well, not really much from it, but it's from a personal standpoint, it is depressing. This game was made by people who wanted to create their dream game. And after getting their game on PS5 recently, the executives at Microwang didn't even bother to give them their company-issued sticks with red and white dotted cloths to put their stuff in. I'm trying to stay calm often, but this makes me want to go postal. It went so well, but no, not even a Switch release. Just liquidate the company right now. Who even cares? We do. The actual players. According to the email, they did this to shift more focus on the mainline games. Oh, I'm sorry. You mean the ones taking up hundreds of gigabytes and needing the power of the sun to even run them at 30 FPS just to be able to play Skyrim 2 in space, which looks a bit nicer but is just mid. I know we can't fix it since the studio shut down and what is gone is gone, but goddamn, these Microsoft Gore people, leave him alone. These people with dreams, talents, aspiration, whatever. This is it. I can't even add something to it. I already said everything before this rant. Just go home. I'm done. Give it a shot if you won't regret it.